Ladies and gentlemen, why is it that out of nearly 8 billion people, one person can feel like the only one who matters? Think about it. We walk past countless faces every day, yet every so often someone steps into your orbit and suddenly the universe feels calibrated differently, like a hidden algorithm is unlocked. That is why I say my dream girl is 1 in a million. She's not 1 in a million because she's flawless. Nobody is. She's 1 in a million because she makes me curious. Just as a good question sparks exploration in science or technology, she sparks exploration in me. With her, I want to know more, not less. She opens doors in my mind I didn't know were there. Together we dream, and dreams matter. Look at history. Books like The Alchemist remind us that personal legends are fueled by shared vision. She doesn't just live in my world, she expands it. Her dreams plug into mine, and suddenly the impossible doesn't look so far away. But here's the surprising part. What makes her magnetic isn't the surface, it's her kindness. In a world obsessed with filters and appearances, kindness is like gravity. It pulls you in. When she shows compassion, it's stronger than beauty, stronger than cleverness. It's the kind of power that doesn't fade. And then there's this balance. She has strength and vulnerability woven together like steel wrapped in silk. You can lean on her, but you can also see her humanity. That paradox doesn't make her weaker, it makes her real. Of course, none of this works without risk. Falling for someone, trusting someone, it's like launching a rocket. There's no guarantee of smooth flight. But without the leap, you never leave the ground. Love, like innovation, demands courage. Here's the difference she makes. Many people can fill your time, but only one can expand your sense of possibility. When she's there, life feels larger, more dynamic. And when she's gone, the silence feels like space itself, too big to ignore. Perfection isn't the point. Presence is. She shows up in a distracted world that's rare enough to be revolutionary. She listens. She laughs. She notices. Those small moments repeated build something stronger than any illusion of perfection. So when I say she's 1 in a million, what I mean is this. She makes the ordinary extraordinary. She takes a conversation, a walk, a meal, and transforms it into something that feels like it matters in the cosmic timeline. And maybe that's what true love is. Not fireworks every second, but a steady pulse that makes the infinite feel close, the unreachable suddenly near. My dream girl is 1 in a million, and the miracle is she chose me. Why is it that out of nearly 8 billion people, one person can feel like they were designed specifically to fit into your life? It almost doesn't make sense when you stop to think about it. We live on a planet crowded with strangers, billions of choices, billions of voices, and yet somehow, amid all that noise, one single person can make the entire world quiet down. That is what I mean when I say my dream girl is 1 in a million. She is not rare because she is impossible to find. She is rare because when you do find her, you instantly know that she stands apart from everyone else. Most people we meet pass by us like background noise. We might talk, we might smile politely, but nothing shifts. Then someone arrives who alters the gravitational pull of your life. They walk into a room, and without effort they command your attention. You're not just looking at them, you're drawn to them. It feels like the odds of that happening are so slim, it's almost statistical fiction. And yet when it happens, you realize probability doesn't matter. What matters is presence. This rarity is not about perfection, it's about resonance. Just as a single note on a piano can vibrate in harmony with a string across the room, this person resonates with you. You don't need to explain why you laugh at the same things, why your silences are comfortable instead of awkward, why your dreams suddenly feel like they found a collaborator instead of an audience. That resonance is rare enough to feel like a miracle. Think of how many lives you'll never cross, how many stories you'll never hear. Out of those endless possibilities, this one person, this one connection slips through the chaos and finds you. It's like two satellites in orbit somehow, aligning their paths in the vastness of space. That is why the phrase 1 in a million is not just a cliche. It's the closest thing to describing the mathematical improbability of love. And yet, the real wonder is that once you find that person, the rarity doesn't feel intimidating. It feels natural. It feels like the most ordinary thing in the world. She doesn't just stand out because she's different. She stands out because she makes life itself feel different. That, in the end, is what makes her truly 1 in a million. Curiosity is often underestimated in love. People talk about attraction, compatibility, chemistry, but curiosity is the quiet force that sustains them all. My dream girl makes me curious in the same way that a new frontier makes an explorer restless. Just as a scientist sees a mystery not as a barrier, but as an invitation, she makes me want to discover more, to keep asking, to keep learning. With her, nothing ever feels fully finished, and that is what keeps everything alive. When you meet most people, you might exchange stories, share experiences, and eventually the conversation drifts into routine. With her, it's the opposite. The more I know, the more I realize how much I don't know. Every thought she shares feels like the beginning of a trail rather than the end of one. It's as if she holds a map to hidden places inside herself, and instead of handing it over all at once, she invites me to explore step by step. That invitation is powerful because curiosity doesn't die when it's fed, it grows stronger. Think of innovation. Every breakthrough in technology, every leap forward in science begins with a simple question. What if curiosity pushes rockets into space, writes novels, and creates music that outlives generations? In the same way, curiosity fuels love that lasts. She makes me wonder, what if we tried this? Or what would she think about that? It's a constant state of exploration. And exploration is what keeps both progress and passion alive. There's a line in *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari that speaks about how humans became the dominant species because of imagination, the ability to ask questions and pursue answers that didn't yet exist. Love thrives on the same principle. If you're not curious about the person beside you, the relationship becomes predictable, and predictability turns into stagnation. But when you're with someone who makes you wonder, every day feels like a prototype, not a final product. There is always something new to build, something new to test. The beauty of her presence is that she doesn't demand curiosity. She inspires it. She doesn't hand me a script. She gives me an open page. And when love feels like that, it doesn't grow old because curiosity is endless. With her, I don't just want to know her favorite color or her childhood memories. I want to know her evolving dreams, her shifting fears, her visions for tomorrow. That is why curiosity in love, as in innovation, is the rare energy that keeps everything moving forward. Dreams are not just personal, they are shared. The power of two people dreaming together is far greater than either one dreaming alone. My dream girl doesn't just listen when I talk about my vision for the future. She adds her own sparks to it, and suddenly the picture grows brighter, richer, more complete. When she shares her dreams with me, they don't feel separate or competing. They feel like parts of the same story, like two threads that when woven together form something stronger than either could be on its own. There's a reason books like The Alchemist remind us that following your personal legend is not a solitary act. Even the boldest dreamer needs someone who believes alongside them. She isn't just a passenger in my vision. She's a CEO architect. With her, the future doesn't feel like an abstract possibility. It feels like something we're actively designing. That shared creation is what gives love its sense of momentum. Alone, you might dream of building a home. Together, you dream of what life inside it will feel like. Alone, you might imagine success. Together you imagine meaning. What makes this extraordinary is that shared dreams create gravity. They anchor you during storms and they propel you when doubt tries to drag you back. There are days when my ambitions feel too heavy, too out of reach. But she reminds me why I started. And when her voice carries her own dreams, whether small, like learning a new skill, or vast, like impacting the world, it fuels me too. That exchange of energy is what keeps our dreams alive even when the world tells us to be practical, to scale back, to settle. History is full of partnerships built on this principle. Think of explorers who crossed oceans or innovators who reimagined entire industries. Rarely did they do it entirely alone. They had companions who shared their vision and magnified it. That's what she does. She makes the impossible feel a little less impossible because it's no longer mine alone to carry. The magic of dreaming together is that it transforms the future into something shared, not borrowed. It creates a language only we understand. And that is why my dream girl is 1 in a million, because with her the future is not just an idea floating in the distance. It is something alive, something we build together, step by step, dream by dream. Kindness is often underestimated in a world that prizes beauty, status, and achievement. But the truth is, kindness has a power none of those things can match. My dream girl is 1 in a million, not because she's the loudest or the most visible, but because her kindness radiates in ways that can't be ignored. When she's kind, it's not a performance, it's part of her nature, like gravity pulling everything closer. That is what makes her magnetic. Think about it. Beauty can turn heads, but kindness turns lives. A person might be admired for their appearance or their talents, but admiration fades if it isn't supported by warmth and empathy. With her, beauty and kindness aren't competing. They are layered. The way she treats people, even in small, unnoticed moments, speaks louder than anything else. She doesn't need to announce her goodness. It reveals itself in her patience, in her willingness to listen, in the way she remembers details about people that others forget. What's remarkable is that kindness creates an atmosphere. When she's around, the room feels different, not because of what she says, but because of how she makes others feel. There's a story in To Kill a Mockingbird where Atticus Finch explains that you never truly understand a person until you climb into their skin and walk around in it. That's the essence of empathy, and she embodies it naturally. She sees the world through more than her own perspective, and that generosity of spirit changes the people around her. Kindness is also enduring. Looks may fade. Achievements may be replaced by someone else's. But kindness builds a legacy. A single act of compassion can ripple outward in ways we don't always see. When she chooses kindness, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one is watching, it reminds me that real strength doesn't shout. It whispers. And those whispers echo. What makes her truly 1 in a million is not that she's kind just to me, but that she's kind to everyone. From the stranger at the checkout line to the friend going through a hard time. Her compassion isn't selective. That universality is rare, and it's what makes her presence transformative. In her, kindness isn't an accessory, it's the foundation. And that foundation is stronger and more captivating than any surface-level attraction could ever be. That is why her kindness is the force that makes her unforgettable. Strength and vulnerability often seem like opposites, but in reality, they are 2 sides of the same coin. My dream girl embodies both in a way that feels rare and profound. She is strong not just in the obvious sense of perseverance or resilience, but in the quiet way she carries herself in the choices she makes when life tests her. Yet alongside that strength, she shows vulnerability. She doesn't hide her fears or her doubts. And that honesty makes her even stronger in my eyes. In a world where so many people wear masks, pretending to have everything figured out, her willingness to be real is disarming. She can face challenges head on, but she can also say, I'm not okay today. That balance creates trust. When someone shows you only strength, it can feel distant, unreachable. But when they allow you to see their softer side, it invites closeness. With her, I never feel like I'm standing on the outside of her life. I feel invited into it fully. Her strength is practical too. She knows how to hold things together when situations get messy. She can solve problems, make decisions, and carry weight when she needs to. But she also knows she doesn't have to carry it all alone. And that's where vulnerability becomes a gift. By allowing herself to lean on me sometimes, she makes space for partnership instead of independence at all costs. That interdependence is what makes love work. It's not about two people being invincible. It's about two people being human together. There's a moment in Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl where he talks about enduring suffering by holding on to purpose. Strength without vulnerability can sometimes look like cold endurance. But strength with vulnerability looks like it's like endurance that has heart. She embodies that. She finds purpose not only in overcoming, but in connecting and allowing herself to be seen fully, unpolished, unfinished, and real. What makes her 1 in a million is that this balance makes her trustworthy. You know that when she says she's fine, she means it. And when she says she's struggling, she's brave enough to admit it. That honesty deepens love. She's steel wrapped in silk, firm, unyielding when it matters, but also tender enough to let light through the cracks. And it's in that rare combination of strength and vulnerability that I see the truest form of beauty. Love, like technology, is built on risk. Every innovation, every leap forward, every bold attempt at progress comes with uncertainty. You never truly know if the rocket will launch, if the prototype will work, or if the idea will catch fire. Love follows the same law. When you open yourself to someone, when you decide to trust, when you hand over your heart, you are stepping into the unknown. That's what makes it terrifying, and that's what makes it extraordinary. My dream girl is 1 in a million because she understands that risk is not something to avoid, but something to embrace. With her, I've learned that safety might feel comfortable, but it doesn't lead to growth, just as no breakthrough ever came from staying in the lab forever. No great love ever came from holding back forever. The heart, like an invention, requires testing. It requires failing and trying again. And she makes that process worth it because every risk taken with her feels like a step towards something greater. The truth is, love can't be guaranteed. There are no blueprints, no perfect formulas, no certain outcomes. But risk brings reward. When you dare to love, you create the possibility of something that expands you beyond yourself. She reminds me that risk is not recklessness, it's commitment. It's saying, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm willing to bet on this on us. That mindset mirrors the way humanity has always progressed by daring to try. Books like Daring Greatly by Nee Brown speak to this truth. Vulnerability is the birthplace of connection. Without risk, there is no intimacy, no authenticity. With her, I see that in action. She's not afraid to put her heart on the line, to say what she feels, to step into uncertainty. And because of that, she invites me to do the same. Together we take those leaps, sometimes small, sometimes huge, and we discover that even when we stumble, the fall isn't fatal. We learn, we adapt, we keep moving forward. That's what makes her rare. She doesn't just accept risk, she transforms it into adventure. With her, love isn't static, it's dynamic, full of experiments, full of possibilities. And like any bold innovation, the risk of failure is always there. But the potential for greatness is what makes the journey worth it. That is why love with her feels like the bravest and most rewarding risk of all. There is a difference between someone who fills your time and someone who expands your sense of possibility. Time fillers make the days pass. They keep you occupied, entertained, maybe even distracted. But they don't change you. They don't make you think bigger or feel deeper. My dream girl is 1 in a million because she doesn't just fill space in my life, she expands it. With her, life feels larger, more alive, more full of horizons I didn't even know existed. It's easy to mistake business for meaning. We live in a world of constant noise, notifications, meetings, routines that keep us moving but not necessarily growing. Many relationships can slip into that same pattern, pleasant, comfortable, but static. She breaks that pattern. She doesn't just accompany me in my routines, she pushes me out of them. A simple conversation with her can lead me to question old assumptions, to imagine new paths, to see myself in the world differently. That expansion is rare, and it's why she matters so deeply. When she speaks about her own ideas, dreams, or even doubts, it doesn't feel like background chatter. It feels like a spark. She makes me consider possibilities I hadn't noticed. She doesn't hand me all the answers. She inspires me to go looking for them. That's the difference between filling time and expanding possibility. One makes the clock tick faster. The other makes the future feel wider. Think of explorers who set out across oceans. They weren't looking for ways to fill their days. They were searching for new worlds. Love can be the same. With her, I feel like I'm exploring. I'm not just moving through the familiar map of my life. I'm stepping into uncharted territory. She makes the ordinary feel adventurous.